Did you guys hear about that guy who had a burglar? Had someone try to burgle his house. I think the guy had something on him, and he was the elderly guy. I'm not sure how old he was. Might have been in his 70s or whatever.
The resident in the house.
Yeah, the resident in his house. Someone tried to burgle him.
Right.
And I think he took the guy's knife or screwdriver.
Who took whose knife?
The resident took the burglar's knife or weapon, and I think stabbed him with it, and the guy ended up dying.
Wow.
The pension, because the pensioner as well, the pensioner got arrested, and there was a case and stuff like that. But because of public appeal and the outrage, they just ended up squashing the whole charge.
Oh, so they were going to charge him with murder?
They were going to charge him. I mean, of course.
What country was this in?
This was DNA. This was England. This is like last week.
I hadn't heard anything about this.
Last 2 weeks.
Nah,
yeah,
didn't hear anything about it.
I don't think they were going to charge him with murder, but obviously they had to arrest him, and then they had to charge him because of the process, because he still killed somebody.
Yeah.
But the outcry was because somebody burgled his house. I mean, obviously they're saying it's self-defense.
Yeah, of course.
But there was such like a big outcry on it.
I mean, if a stranger comes into my house and like they're clearly an intruder, I will body you. Like, what are you doing in my house? Like, why are you sneaking into my house? You're trying to obviously kill me.
But burgling in someone's house has never warranted a death penalty, though.
No.
Like, you could get arrested for burgling someone house and get a couple of years.
Well, he got the death penalty.
No, he didn't. But I'm saying, obviously,
not in this country.
No, but obviously the guy who ended up robbing the house got a death penalty because he's dead.
Oh, okay. I see what you mean.
You know what I'm saying? So and it's like everyone was like, my thing is.
Do you feel like he should have lived?
Not even that. Do we need to encourage vigilantism? Like people actually like
people that aren't like enforced.
Taking the law into their own hands, sort of thing.
But we have that anyways. Like I don't know if we have it in the UK, but I know in American, like a place like New York, they actually have like people that act as superheroes. They dress up, and that's what they do. They're not part of law enforcement or anything, but they go out and they fight crime.
You're talking about police?
That actually happens. Like honestly, I've seen a piece on it before. This guy actually dresses up like Superman.
Oh wait, it's the guy who's dressing up as a character.
Yeah, but
I'm talking about police.
No, but they can't be police. They're not like enforced law people. They're actually like just random civilians who decide to like take matters into their own hands, law into their own hands, and serve justice. But here, it's hard though, because we're always like shouting, do more, do the right thing. If you witness something, do something. But then it's like, okay, well, if I'm defending myself, and then this guy happens to get hurt because of it, why now suddenly I'm gonna get charged when his intention was to hurt me, to get something from me, and yet I was just simply protecting myself. You know?
Yeah.
It's very twisted. It's like back and forth, like tick and tack.
Yeah, and I feel like with vigilantism, you're saying that people should have freedom to decide how to respond to things. Yeah. But then I feel like with freedom comes responsibility, and not everybody will take that responsibility because it isn't being regulated. So I feel like there needs to be some sort of regulation, or else people would respond to things on a whim and it will still be justified.
So, I mean, the law might not always be effective, but I don't think it's for people to start taking the law in their own hands, because then where do we draw the line here?
But what does that mean? Like, would you consider the guy, like the elderly man who was defending himself, to be taking the law into his own hands, where he probably didn't have time to call the police. It was happening then and there. Would you say that he was just taking everything into his own hands, and he was just, I'm going to fight this myself? You know, it's very hard, because if you see someone on the street and suddenly you see, like, say someone stealing a bag, should we not do anything?
But isn't the law here to decipher between human emotion and what's right and what's wrong? Because it might be human emotion to defend yourself and then effectively kill somebody, but then we put that in another situation. If we're just talking about defense, and defense gives you justification to kill somebody, we could argue defense in any situation, or self-defense in any situation, and then we're sort of justifying murder, are we not?
I think it's hard, because I believe that the intention of the old man wasn't to kill this guy. It was just to stop him from burgling his house. At the end of the day, if you're taking a knife, you're taking any form of weaponry, it's going to come to a point where you don't know what that weapon's going to do. You know, same with a gun. I've never held a gun, but I'm pretty sure if I pull it back and cock it enough, I don't know if that's terminology, I can kill someone. Yeah. But is that my intention? And it's pretty much down, I could say that was not my intention, but what you see is very different. And
if it wasn't an intention, is it manslaughter? Because you still had intention to hurt the person.
It is. But then we go into very, like, it's not a really grey area, but it's kind of like, what's right or wrong to do in the situation? Did this man want to kill this guy? Or was he defending himself? And therefore...
He wasn't touched, though.
But obviously in the UK,
he was threatened, but no one touched him.
Yeah, and obviously in the UK, we don't condone... Well, we definitely don't do, like, killing people. We don't hang people. No, there is no death penalty in that essence. You want to throw in... What, how old was he? Like...
I'm not sure. He was
but you want to throw that guy in prison for however long for something that he didn't wake up like, I'm going to do this today.
Yeah.
Like, I will kill this guy, or I'm going to kill someone today, you know?
But okay, I hear you. Just to play devil's advocate, my thing is, somebody has now been killed over the sake of possessions.
Right.
That's the bottom line of it now. He died because he wanted to put... All right, he may have felt his life was in danger.
Why did you go to go and burgle someone? Like, it's not like he was just like walking in the street and then something came and killed him. He entered into someone's home and then now everyone's like, oh no, he's died. Poor soul. Why were you going to burgle? Like, why did he walk into something... So, it's like he entered with an offensive intention. Yeah, like, and the old man was on the defense. I don't get why... Suddenly, the accountability has shifted from the burglar who was intruding someone's safety to the person who's responded to their safety being taken away from them.
What happened at Radar? Because I'm not really over that stuff, and that's another thing that's been kind of popping up lately.
So I had a show on Radar Radio. It was once a month, every third Saturday of the month. It was a podcast. There are a group of people who have shows on Radar Radio. I'd say like over 30 people have various slots like Radar. So the thing about Radar is that it's all about freedom of speech. And so everybody's allowed to say what they want to say. It's like a, no filter platform. It's a radio station, but it's only streamed online rather than FM. So that's what allows for the freedom of speech to continue. So there's a particular queer women of colour group called Pussy Palace who have a show on Radar Radio, and they spoke about the fact that they felt really disrespected and unsafe in an environment where there's transphobic speech, there's misogynistic speech, there's colourist speech on the station from other people that have shows. And also they felt like as women of colour, when they were making complaints about these, it wasn't being taken seriously, and they felt so uncomfortable that they just wanted to leave. And maybe about a week later, another woman of colour made a statement very similar to that one, saying that she was a producer at Radar Radio, and it reached a point where she kept on complaining and, talking about how unsafe she felt about being harassed whilst there, and no one was doing anything or taking it seriously, and they were really gaslighting her and trying to make her doubt her own experience. And so she left, but wrote an official blog post about it. And then what happened was so many people felt like these women's voices need to be respected and amplified. So I, can't attach myself to a space where there is hate speech and that isn't being regulated or at least being policed. So people started to leave because nobody wants to align themselves with a station that disrespects people who are marginalised.
I think you're so right. It's very true, but I also think people only don't want to be aligned with it if people don't know. Like as in, if they don't know about it, then it's okay. As in the public. If this didn't come to light from Radar Radio, we would still continue on.
Yeah, that's the thing. Some people were saying that.
Would you have though?
If what?
Would you walk?
Like just based on what Eve said, if it didn't come to light and it wasn't such a huge story, but you knew that this was going on.
Yeah, behind the scenes.
Would you still? Have you still got your show there?
No, I left.
Would you have left if that wasn't there?
Funny enough, I actually didn't leave. So when Pussy Palace made the statement initially a week before everyone left, I hadn't left at the time because I didn't have anywhere else to use as a facility to create my podcast, and so I had to weigh in so many things like, what am I going to do if I leave? Because as much as I believe every single woman who has spoken out, and I completely stand by their beliefs, and also everything that I stand for goes against something like that. And I was like, oh, what am I going to do? Because if I leave, then I can't actually record my podcast anymore, which puts me in a position of detriment. And I feel like I'm the one being punished for something I didn't even do. That's how
Yeah.
I viewed it. But then when I saw that another woman has spoken out, and this is the same story again, I was like, I can't be in this position, because if I was there as frequently as the women who had spoken out were, then I would have dealt with the same treatment if I chose to respond to that environment. So
you can't ignore it after like you hear it again.
Yeah.
But I think this is it. Like, we tolerate a lot of things, especially these kind of things, you know, because whether it brings money or it brings a platform or we can vocalize, it's produced to everyone, so publicity-wise, people can see it. But I definitely think that there's truth in that. You know, if not everyone knows, like, you're not a sellout, basically.
Yeah, but then
you know, when you
go
talk about it, like, you know, when you talk about all the stuff that you fight for and you stand for, whether it's, you know, you're pro-black or you're about, you know, diversity or the representation in the world, it's like, you can't suddenly, but why you know, so many people have been called out on this, like, but why are you doing this? Why do you support this? And then it becomes like, people just scrutinize over every single thing.
Yeah.
You can no longer like wear makeup or foundation or skincare if it's produced in China. Suddenly it's because they test on animals. And you're like, crap, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Am I that bad? You know? So I definitely like empathize. I think at the end of the day it's hard, because it's like you want your content to be out there, because what you're shooting is amazing and people need to see it, but the people doing it, the people that are supposed to be supporting you, they're not even for you.
Because the thing is, the station itself positioned itself as almost like a custodian of the culture. So a lot of grime stuff happens
Of course,
there.
I'm familiar with it.
Yeah. So aside from this issue that happened, it genuinely was a really, really cool station. Mainly because loads of black people were there. Like, that's just facts. Like, anywhere there's black people, it's a cool place. So... But the thing is, like, the problem that I saw a lot of people speaking about was the fact that a lot of these institutions and facilities and spaces often pry on black talent as something that adds, you know, social and cultural value, financial value too.
It's like exploiting the.
It's hitting the quota.
Yeah. It's like exploiting the tokenism of.
100%.
Yeah, absolutely. And so, I feel like, for me as a black woman, I was aware that Radar wasn't black owned. But a lot of companies and a lot of places that I've worked and done stuff, they're not black owned.
Does that bother you? If Radar, did that change your perception of Radar? Know that it wasn't black owned.
It slightly did, because
considering that it was still a cool place.
It's a cool place.
Do you know who owns it?
Is it Makashi's son?
Yes, Oli.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's a station where, you know, like, there's loads and loads of like black culture, black talent. Then when I found out it wasn't black owned, I was like, it's a bit side eye. But then I feel like a lot of things. Apparently, BET isn't even black owned either.
No, it's not.
But just on that thing, if something is for black culture, it's promoting black culture, it's celebrating black culture. Let's take Radar out of the situation. Let's just talk about a company that celebrates, but it does it ticks all the boxes that we need it to do culturally. It does everything right, but it's not black owned. Does that change your perception?
It's a fetishization, I think, because...
Is that fetishization, though?
Well, I'm with you. I think...
Oh, no, let me just... Is that fetishization?
I feel a bit weird about it, because it's like... something that is purely about black content and it's monetized, and that money isn't even going to the very people that it's aiming to benefit or serve, makes me feel a bit weird. I'm not saying that it's purely bad or that the person who's doing it is evil, but it feels weird to me that something that's created by black people isn't even owned by black people. It's like, we ultimately we're still reaching the point where we own our art, or that we own our talent.
We're claiming it.
Everybody
or we're
makes money.
I think you're right about that. I think the whole ownership, the idea that for so long, you know, black people haven't owned the things that they've created, whether it's been like crown jewels, whether it's been artifacts. You know, we've seen that. It's so true. Like, even now, it's like majority of stuff that's in these museums today, it's not even here. It's not supposed to be here. It's supposed to be back in the country where it came from. It was stolen. It was taken. So I think ownership is a huge thing. And I'm kind of with you. I'm a bit funny as well. You know, whenever I see publications that are supposed to be for, like, you know, the Asian culture,
feel weird.
And you feel a bit like it's just a bit booky, because you sit there and you think, this is great, but hold on. So there's this other guy running the whole show, and it kind of feels like we're puppets.
Like, I'm literally paying you to continues control.
You gave me my voice, apparently.
Yeah, it's like you're paying someone else to tell your story when you have a mouth.
To play devil's advocate, just to add different perspective on it.
Yeah.
What if the person who owned the company wanted to help push and do, like, let's say for example, it's a white person that owns a business. What if they use their privilege to then own the company and say, all right, cool, because I'm in a position of privilege where I can do this and do that. I'm going to spend my life or my time or my business pushing a culture that isn't seen or heard.
I hear that. But what you should do, if you really want to be about the culture, and if you really want to be about re-stabilizing black people, then you would make sure that you make as little money from it as the owner. Like, you can still own a company and have small shares in it.
Yeah.
So
there's nothing wrong with cash injection to something you believe in and just being a silent partner. There's nothing wrong with that. I think it kind of warps the whole thing once we all find out, like, wait.
Somebody is making a living that's better than mine off my life. And whether they were making money off it or not, their lives are still, like, structurally better than mine because they have way more power over me.
Yeah.
And it makes it worse when they're actually making money off my oppression. Because it's like, if I wasn't oppressed, you wouldn't need to be giving me money, like, to tell my story.
And I think a lot of people do talk about money, especially, people that don't come from money, and it becomes the focus. It's like, okay, so not only do we want credit, now we want the money. But if we really cared about the content being pushed out and our culture being shown the way that we want to be shown, in its true essence, why are we so money hungry? Should we be like that? We want the money, but what if the content's terrible?
Yeah, because, like, if you really want to be a white savior, you just give, like, there are people like that just give out funds or just, like, give grants out because they want to do the good thing. You can do that on a large scale.
Someone just chucking money at a situation isn't necessarily doing the right thing. To me, just chucking money at a situation is saying, yeah, I've done my bit. There you go.
I don't think there's ever going to be a time where, say, whether a company's completely black owned or completely Asian owned, whatever it is, I don't think there's ever going to be a time where suddenly, if we find out it's owned by a white person or a different ethnic racial background, we're never going to be okay with it. It just comes to the whole idea is like, why aren't we able to do that? Why can't? Yeah, it's like, you have this opportunity. Like, I feel like at some levels you think I owe you for this.
Yeah.
Even though this is my voice, this is my story, this is my people, my culture, and yet you see it as, again, we can make money off it.
Yeah, because, like, if you're really about it, like, and you want to, change the way it's all built, and if you want to really stabilize people, then you can put that money into paying for people to go to law school, paying for people to go and study whatever they want to study. Like, you can still, it's like the whole, I think it's by Cafford, and it's like, give a man a fish and he'll eat for a day, teach a man a fish and he'll eat for life. Like, I feel like people who have money still, it looks like they're helping, but they're still holding that power by providing people with money, which is something that's finite. But if you provide people with skills and insights into how to actually, like,
own the business, get the money.
Do you know what I mean? So it's still a way of actually, like, holding that person down, but it looks really nice.
Yeah.
What were you talking about? Call out culture.
So call out culture is, there's this new subculture appearing on the internet where people are searching someone's handle on the, like, Twitter, and then search a particular term next to it. So, like, person's name and then dark skin. Person's name.
You can do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just a hashtag, and then everything's hashtag now.
Or, like, so, like, you can literally, if you had a Twitter account, I can search your Twitter handle and then search a word that I think could be problematic next to it, and then everything that you said that has that word in it will come up.
Yeah.
See, I thought when stuff like that happened, I thought people literally just dug through tweets for, like, years and years. Someone was scrolling for, like, 3 days. I didn't know it was that easy.
You can just search, literally. Wow. And this is how, like, a lot of people, especially if they tweet so much, like celebrities, people that are really huge, have huge platforms, get kind of called out on these things because something they said like 5 years ago, something gets pulled up, and it's like, wow, you're not even the same person then.
What do you guys think of that, though?
You go.
I think it depends, because I definitely seen, like, some tweets like, bro, I can't
What does it depend
anymore.
on, though? The content or the time, or both?
It depends on the person's
actual,
and
it's like that. Again,
for me, go on.
Yeah, for example, if it's racism, homophobia, there's a lot, transphobia, these sorts of things. I look at that person completely different. And the day I'm a person that believes that you don't have to agree to any of who I am, or what that person is. But the day I'm here and I exist, and therefore you cannot just, like, disregard someone. you know, it becomes like, yeah, you might be a successful person, you might do this and do that, but there's a layer of you that is, you know, evil in a way. You know, you're basically saying that someone isn't who they are.
But wait, what if someone stuck up a tweet from like, let's say 7 years ago, but they were 18 at the time and they're now like 25, or like they're 30, but they tweeted that? Because I mean, we've been on social media for a long time now. Like I had Twitter when I was like,
for me, I've seen that happen several times where people get tweets dug up from when they were 18, 17 years old. And then there is the argument that, you know, that person's 18, they're still an adult, they should know better. But then I think generally there needs to be a conversation had about the fact that the social landscape was very different when we were 18.
Exactly.
We obviously weren't all 18 at the same time, but this time, 9 years ago, the internet wasn't a space where people were focusing on prioritizing how they speak about other people. It was a very, very, very unregulated space relatively compared to now. And so there was a lot of room for people to ignorantly grow up on the internet. We forget that we're a generation that have spent half our lives growing up online. And so it means that there was a time where I don't believe that anybody came out of the womb like this, holding a book by Audre Lorde on feminism. Like, nobody did that.
No.
I'm just saying, I said some really bad stuff when I was about 17, 16, 18, really horrible stuff. But then at the time, when I look back and when I was saying that and what the social landscape looked like, all the people around me were saying the same things, and they were all enablers. We were all enabling each other because we didn't know any better. That's not to make it justifiable or still accountable, but I didn't know any better, and I wish I knew better. And then when I finally realized better, I got rid of all those tweets. They're gone, and I still do.
Sorry to interrupt. I think with that, because I've had Twitter since it started, like 2008, 9, whatever. So I've been there when I've just tweeted hi, you know? Legit. This is my first tweet. I remember
How do I use this thing?
I remember.
Oh my God. Is this a tweet?
Eve chilling. But like, I remember when you could literally change the background, the theme, all that. Like, I
don't remember.
But the thing is, like, I hold my hands up, and deleting, I don't agree. Like, if someone pulled a tweet from way back now, I'd be like, yeah, I said that.
But you wouldn't want to delete it.
No, I'll delete it, and I'll be like, you know what? I said it. This is how I would respond.
But if you had the chance, to delete it.
They're gone.
But let's just say, if you had the chance to delete it, someone said, like, boom, I pulled up these tweets. I'm about to air them. And you got a chance to delete it. You don't
of course I would delete it. I would delete. I personally would delete it just so that, because I'm not always going to be given the chance to explain myself. And it's really hard to prove that you're sorry.
On that, like, I don't believe in explaining myself. I know for myself. I think this is the problem.
Some things deserve explanation, though.
But some things don't. The thing is, like,
So someone caught you saying something like transphobic or something.
It wouldn't happen, though. The thing is,
I hear that.
From me, like, I know that I can hold my hands up. Anyone can pull anything up from me, and I'd be like, I said that, yeah, 100%. But am I the same person?
What is it? Okay. Yeah.
But then obviously you must not have said anything wild. Like, I've probably got wild
I said
stuff.
I
said some jungle stuff on my wow.
But I guess it's like, it's nothing that. But it's
please don't pull up my tweets.
No, what you should do. See, I think it's what I don't understand. Yeah. And it's like, we're in 2018. People have been getting called out for the past 2 years. Right? Yeah. People have publicists. So there are people in positions where they have publicists. And like,
why'd you say that?
Why'd you say that? But at the time they didn't have publicists because they were like 18.
Tyrese.
But then two, it's like, it should be a mandatory thing now for once you get publicists, part of their role should be to download a program which allows you to actually insert your Twitter archive, which you can download from Twitter settings if people knew that, and then you can actually delete all your old tweets. Start from, like, you can do, because I did that, 2015, I knew this purge was coming, I did that. So I was like, no one's coming for me, come for me. To this day, I still search my name and search any kind of wild term someone will try and think of.
Isn't that a sense of like anxiety?
But the thing is, I haven't said that many things, but still.
I don't believe in that. I literally think, come for me, try it.
Gangster.
Honestly, try. I wish they would. Because it's kind of like, but it kind of is like, if you want to hold me to something I said when I was 18, I can't even remember being 18.
Because even saying that sounds ridiculous,
doesn't it? And like, I'm deleting it. Someone somewhere in the metadata of the internet, that tweet will still exist.
Oh, of course.
You think you deleted it? No, like, Twitter gonna blow up and show you the whole archive. Look at what these people tried to delete. They said this, yes, and it's like kind of like, what? Just leave it. Do you know? Like for me, I'm like, nah, I'm good. I said that.
It's kind of crazy.
Do you know what it is as well, though? It's like when these people do get pulled up, what you need to do is like you said, right? Like how taking ownership. If someone pulled mine up, I'll take ownership. I'll be like, you know what? I said that. I said it at a time when I was young, lost, and unhappy, and I don't agree with any of the things I said at the time, and it was wrong. And to the person who was affected by this directly, I am sorry. Like, because people don't know how to apologize, and that's what makes it even worse. I've seen so many people who've been called out, and their apologies are terrible. It's like there's no accountability. They're centering how hurt they are by people dragging them. They're trying to cling on to their careers and forgetting that it's not about clinging on to your career right now. It's about actually rectifying what you've done, because regardless of when you said it, it still caused pain somewhere to someone.
I was gonna say, like, I did actually get like called out. It was it was when Brexit happened. It was happening.
Oh, that was recent.
And it was like a tweet, and I must.
Did you vote Brexit?
No. I didn't vote. So let me just say this.
This is a safe space.
No. Honestly,
this is a safe space.
I feel mad safe. Anyways, what I will say is,
I don't know about you, but I feel safe.
No, but okay. So I'll get into this. When the whole when Brexit came about, you know, everyone was uproared, and I had moved out home like 5 years ago. You know, I didn't know that I was registered home. I didn't know the whole thing about voting. And I'd always talked to my mum about it, you know, when I was very young. I was like, I've never seen someone from my background in the magistrates. I've never seen someone as an MP, and therefore I can't relate. And for me, I don't believe in giving my vote to a lesser evil. It just for the sake of it, for the sake. And you know, I had people tweeting me saying,
so that was why people were tweeting you.
Yeah, as a female, like, you went out to vote 100 years ago, like, you should, like, utilize your vote.
First of all, when the suffragettes were fighting for females to vote, it was only white women fighting for white women. It wasn't until years later that black women were allowed to vote.
And it was only, like, white women that owned a house and they were over 30 that could vote at the time.
You had to be married or something like that.
Yeah, something like that. Or go to school. So, like, I had that, and then I had it when I actually worked in a marketing job. A kid, well, I say kid, it wasn't a kid, he's 21.
That's not a kid.
He's still a kid. He's younger than me, he's a kid. And so he was saying, you should vote for Jeremy Corbyn, and all this stuff. And I was like, no, why should I? Like, he's like, you're not going to vote. And I was like, well, I haven't really thought about it yet. I haven't read enough. I don't know enough. I don't know the people.
Kids have a warped sense of politics.
Yeah, and the thing is, like, I was like, I don't believe in forcing an 18-year-old who's just fresh to vote for the sake of voting, because at the end of the day, they can't hold that with conviction. Should the judgment say that Jeremy Corbyn wins or whomever won, whatever, should that have gone wrong? And that person, that 18-year-old you told to vote, like, you better just vote, right? And that happens a lot, this pressure of voting. And they can't even talk on, like, the negativity if it didn't work out.
That's because we have. I think
we're not educated enough.
No, I just think we're at an age now
Yeah.
where we are at tribalism politics, and you're either red or blue, you're either black or white, you're either yes or no, and I think you can't be so binary sometimes. I don't think life is so binary.
I don't believe in that, because it's like, the fact of the matter is, majority of us, we don't learn political talk in school.
Well, I don't think school should teach you politics.
But the thing is, it should be simpler. They should know that what they're fighting for is this, and that. For an 18-year-old, when their outlook on life is going to be so different from a person who's actually in the working world, who has to pay their own bills, you know? And it's very hard to say to them, like, you've got to vote. It's going to benefit your future. Self-awareness, yeah, 100%. And it's like, you're trying to force someone to vote when they don't even know what they're voting for, what they're fighting for, or what they will have to fight for once that happens. It shouldn't be forced.